I kind of love the really simple look of like the little red and the little ties up here, which is really cool. Hey there, and welcome back to the Mini Weekend. I'm your host, Jack. Let's get into it, Mini. Okay. During the podcast, we went with the next Athletic Brewing Co. Drink from them. It's Easy IPA. It's called Free Wave, and I have to say, I think, no disrespect, I think this is the one I tried one time. It was probably super hot out, and I didn't care too much for it. And it's not bad. It kind of, if I had to compare it to something, it would be like Surly's Furious. So yeah, once again, drink of the podcast for those that are new. We got 10 things we talk with you guys about on a weekly basis. First one is always the drink of the podcast. We're always shouting out something locally brewed from the great state of Minnesota, or some fun non-alcoholic drinks, or from anywhere, or recommendations from you guys, the fans. So tonight, like I said, Athletics Free Wave Hazy IPA, athleticbrewing.com. For those that don't know much about the Athletic Brewing, they've kind of branded themselves as like the beer for athletes. It's pretty common if you watch or know people that run marathons, for them to, they're training for so long that after the marathon they go grab a beer and throw back a beer. A lot of athletic brews are at the end of marathons now, and they're one of the more popular non-alcoholic beers on the market for the better part of, the last year. Most places that I go out to for dinner and stuff like that, they have non-alcoholic options. Athletic is usually, if nothing else, one of 2 or 3 options that they have. Really one of a kind. I mean, tastes like the real deal, and is a lot healthier of an option. All of their drinks are very minimal calories. This one, for instance, has 70 total calories, 1 gram of protein, and 16 carbohydrates. The ingredients: water, malted barley, wheat, hops, and yeast. And I would say for those that like IPAs that don't like them super hoppy, I would recommend staying away from this one and having the Run Wild one. The Run Wild one was the first one we tried, and it's very cool. It's still hoppy because that's kind of like the bread and butter of an IPA, but it's a little bit more mellowed than this. A while back, I would have loved this because I used to love the Surly Furiouses, but the less and less I've drank, the more I've realized that it's just a lot if you're not used to it. And of course, with me not drinking anymore, it is a lot, and I can see why on a hot day I maybe would have preferred something a little bit more mellow than this, but needless to say, still good. Like I said, athleticbrewing.com. You can shop them. This beer specifically, or non-alcoholic beer, has won multiple awards. LA Spirits Awards got the Silver Award back in 2022. U.S. Open Beer Championship, silver in 2022. Also in 2022, World Beer Awards, silver. And then in 2022, it got the gold medal in the International Beer Challenge. They're very well known. You can join the club. You can subscribe to them, where you get certain amount of beer, non-alcoholic beer, and perks on a monthly basis. You can learn more about what goes into the making of these and all that fun stuff. You can find them all over social media: TikTok, YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram. Really awesome and fun company. They stand for a lot of really good values, and the guys are awesome. I've read up on them, and they do a lot of charity work and things like that. And the really cool thing is they're not just non-alcoholic beers. If you go to their website, you can find out everything that they have. They have a non-alcoholic beer. They have some limited editions. They have members only stuff to kind of get you in there. They have NA inspired cocktails, variety packs, non-alcoholic light beers, dark beers. They're sour non-alcoholic beers, which I have not tried yet. And then they have their own line of sparkling water day pack, which is essentially their spin on like a non-alcoholic, like High Noon or something like that. They have on their website, they have blood orange, mango, black cherry, and lemon lime. So we are going to find these and try them this summer, probably even on the podcast. So for Free Wave, I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna go 5-4. It's an okay beer. It's personally not my favorite because, like I said, since I've gotten away from drinking, I prefer just lighter beers and lighter things. That was partially part of the thing that, looking back on it, I was like, geez, I drank a lot of really dark and really full beers, and it just filled me up so quickly as well. I'm not saying it's a bad beer. There are just other non-alcoholic drinks that I've had before, and ones that I've seen on here that I haven't tried that I would probably get before this one. So yeah, like I said, buy it forward. Let me know what you guys think of this one, and if you have any recommendations for me to try next from Athletic Brew Co., let me know. With that, on to item number 2. Despite being done with the seasons and not a whole lot of St. Thomas news to come until football season kind of gets closer, sometime in the summer, we have UST men's or UST basketball awards. So they're from the women's and men's teams. Both received awards since the conclusion of their seasons. It was actually announced redshirt junior Carter Bierke, graduate student Ryan Dufault, and redshirt sophomore Ben Oosterbaan each earned a spot on the 2025-26 College Sports Communicators Academic All-District team. The team recognizes the nation's top student athletes for their combined performances on the court and in the classroom. Let's see here. Bierke is a finance major from Plymouth, making his second appearance on the team. He was a 2025-26 Summit Honorable All-League, average 9.44 points, 3.4 rebounds per game, shooting just under 45% from three-point range and just under 50% overall through the season, and became the program's D1 career leader in total three-pointers made with 200, setting a bunch of records, so a huge congratulations to him. Dufault finishing a graduate certificate in digital experience from Waseca, Minnesota, ends his Tommy career as the program's D1 leader in games played with 131, missing just 3 games in his 4-season career here. This last season, he averaged 5.7 points, 2.3 rebounds, and 1.8 assists a game. Then Oosterbaan is a finance major from Hinsdale, Illinois. Also second time on the team. He started in all 34 games for the Tommies this year, averaging 7.6 points, 4.2 rebounds, shooting another amazing just under 50% from the floor, and averaged 19 and a half points per game during the 2026 Summit League Championships. Career high 23 during a quarterfinal win over South Dakota State. So a huge congratulations to all 3 of them, and can't wait to see Oosterbaan and Bierke come back next year and see if they can take this team to an NCAA tournament appearance. And then on the women's side, there were 3 Tommies named to the Academic All-District team. Senior guard Faith Feuerbach from Sycamore, Illinois, is a first-team Academic All-District honoree, a mathematics and education major, maintained a GPA of 0.56, played and started in all 32 games, and averaged a career-high 9.6 points per game. It's worth noting, they have it here for the women's, that student athletes to be on this team must complete at least 50% of their team's contests and maintain a cumulative GPA of 0.5 or higher. Would be Jada Hood, graduate guard from St. Paul, Minnesota, first time honoree. She's pursuing a graduate degree in business analytics. Maintained a GPA of 3.5, playing in all 32 games. And second in the conference in assist turnover ratio of 1.6, and ranked top 25 in the conference in scoring, 9.5 versus Summit League opponents. So a huge congratulations to her. And then the third one was sophomore forward Michaela Werner from Portonville, Wisconsin. Also first time on the team. Pursuing a degree in biology while maintaining a GPA of 3.82. Michaela averaged 8.2 points per game and shot 60% from the floor this season, scoring a career-high 22 points in a win over Kansas City back in February. So a huge congratulations to the women as well, and all 6 basketball stars. Michaela Werner back, as Jada Hood and Faith Feuerbach will be graduated. So huge congratulations to all of them, and can't wait to see going forward what Jada Hood and Faith Feuerbach are going to do. So thank you for all of your hard work. And then lastly, the third thing we got is the NCAA is down to the Final Four in both the men's hockey and men's March Madness. So I thought to start this, we would do a quick recap. So heading into Final Four weekend, 39 group, mini weekend group, we got Daisy 2 atop the leaderboard with 970 points. ESPN fan 18211489112 in second place with 920. Chicken Dinner third place with 910. ESPN bunch of numbers 900 points. I'll put them also right over Kacha. And then D Instagram TBT 2 Scully 860 tied for fifth with him. A Instagram TBT 2 Scully and Sully are all tied for fifth. And then alone in eighth place is Daisy 1 with 850 points. So that's how the top 8 are looking right now. For our group, and then for the bracket, we, like I said, they're down to the Final Four. We got number 3 Illinois and number 2 UConn facing off on Saturday the 4th at 5:09 for a trip to the championship game. And then right after that game, number 1 Arizona taking on number 1 Michigan at 7:49 for a chance to play the winner of UConn and Illinois. Monday night, the 6th, super crazy that we're already to the Final Four. I remember getting so hyped and super excited watching 4 straight days of just amazing basketball. Crazy to think we're already to the Final Four teams. And then on the hockey side of things, got to watch some of the hockey matchups this last weekend. But we are still a week out from these matchups, so they won't play until the 9th of April. But needless to say, in the first game at 4 p.m., it'll be number 2 North Dakota taking on Wisconsin, and then it'll be number 1 Michigan taking on Denver. At 7:30. So pretty crazy that there are 2 Big Ten schools in the Frozen Four, and it's also really, I can't remember what I was going to say. But yeah, so those four teams will play on the 9th. And then, just like the basketball, they will have 1 day off before having the championship played at 4:30 p.m. on April 11th. So yeah, that's what we have for our first 3 things. Next up, we have our good friends over at UNRL on Reel sent me the first Twins drop of the year. Love it. Again, another very simple design. I love just the subtle redness around it. The cool TC logo down here. You got the cool Minnesota design on the patch on the sleeve with the North Star red right where Minneapolis St. Paul is. I love the simple nuances right across the pouch down here. Then obviously the emblem over here, and you get to see the red on that. And then even the inside, the inside of the hood is red too. So really, really nice, really awesome. Really comfy. It's another one of their crossover hoodies. I kind of love the really simple look of like the little red and the little ties up here, which is really cool. And then tonight we are also rocking our Legacy snapback, hat in the khaki color. Can't get enough of these hats. Super comfortable. Like I said, they're vented on the back to help get some airflow in there on the really warm days when it's breezy, to keep you cool when you're warm and to keep you warm when you're cold. So yeah, that's what we're rocking tonight. And for those that are interested in anything Unreal, or if you're wondering what Unreal is, they're an athleisure Minnesota brand, and they've gone very quickly from probably a year and a half ago to right now, from being kind of like a Minnesota specific company to they're nationwide. I mean, they've done they do in-arena exclusives for the Wild and Wolves these last couple of years. This year alone, they've done in-arena exclusives just for the Bucks, just for the Columbus Blue Jackets, just for the Boston Celtics. Like, they are getting their name out there, and rightfully so. They make amazing quality products, top of the line, like I said. Just like I mentioned every single week, they really do have something for anybody out there. If you're into working out, go check out their Stride shirts. If you're looking for lounge and stuff, their ultra short sleeves, hoodies, long sleeves are amazing. And if you're just looking for something either to wear to work or to golf, they have amazing concourse pants and really awesome. I think they're called like their Halifax, Condor polos, which they're kind of like they're kind of like that dry fit material, and it's like a hybrid between like a Henley and a Polo. I myself have like 5 of those. They have quarter zips. In quarter zips have hoodies, they have shorts, comfy shorts. I mean, you name it. You guys just have to go check them out. I can go on and on about them, but at the end of the day, you guys have to go check them out. UNRL.com. You will not be disappointed. But before you make your purchase, you make sure you go down to my YouTube description and grab my link. It'll give you $15 off your first order, and at the same time, you'll still be able to start acquiring points on that first order that you can use in the future for anywhere from $15 all the way up to $50 off future orders. Make sure, like I said, make sure you go not only check them out there on their websites, but you make sure you go follow them on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. You will not be disappointed. If you guys need another reason to go get them, they do collaborations literally with everybody. The last 3 years now, they've done Vikings and or NFL drops a bunch. This is their second year. They've done Twins drops. They do in-arena exclusive drops for the Wild and the Wolves. They have a Rapala collaboration. If you go to the website, you hover over collaborations. You can literally see they have lookbooks for what has already passed. Miracle capsule, hoodies, everything like that. You can see it all. They just did a US Open one that's about to happen this summer. Merch, go grab some of that. They have Folds of Honor, Volition America. You guys need to just go check them out. Take my word for it or not, go check them out, unrl.com. Their material and their products truly are unreal. Moving along, 5th thing to talk about, Twins update. Earlier today, the Minnesota Twins in their 6th game got their 2nd win. We're going to post the 2nd post of this on our road to 73 wins to win in some money on their over wins for the year. And won by a score of 5-1 over the Kansas City Royals to avoid the sweep. And they used a big 3-run 9th inning to secure the win. Wallner and Clemens both homered, and Bell all homered in the top of the 9th to get how do you pronounce Taj Bradley his first win as a Minnesota Twin. And I have to say, when I throw in for the first game or first or second game in the season, he looked good. We weren't able to get the win, unfortunately, but he looked really good. He's a really young guy, only 25 years old, so if he can get things going and he can be one of those top pitchers for us with Bailey Ober and Joe Ryan, I think we might be able to make a little bit of noise more than people thought they would. But he had a strong outing in 6 innings pitched, only allowed 5 hits and 1 walk to go with 3 strikeouts. But yeah, despite being at 2-4, super early on in the season, they're only 3rd in the AL Central. Cleveland is at 4-3. Kansas City's 3-3. We're 2-4. Detroit's 2-4. Chicago's 1-5. Once again, with me talking about, hey, they're gonna win more than 72.5 games. That is not me being the eternal optimist saying they're gonna win 100 games. They're gonna be amazing. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna go win the pennant. Like, no time on. I would be shocked if we are actually in playoff contention. I just think 73 wins for a team that's not supposed to do very well this year is very doable. I wouldn't be all that surprised if they were 82-82. Now, Cleveland and Detroit and Kansas City, with how those 3 teams are supposed to do this year, even at 82-82, or even if they were to go like 85-79, still don't think a record like that would even put them, like, those 3 teams should finish above us. But I just think 72.5 wins is just too low for this team, especially with how many games are played. Just like anything on any given year, the Twins and every team, unless you're, the Marlins or the Athletics, every team goes on like a 5 or 6 game winning streak once or, a couple times throughout the year. So it should be pretty easy to get that, but nonetheless, I already got 2 wins in our first 6 games. And coming up next for the Twins, they will now have games for the next 13 games. They will come home tomorrow for their home opener, 3:10 first pitch against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, for a 3-game series against them before hosting a 4-game series between the Detroit Tigers and them. So should be a good season. Can't wait to see just how many wins they get, but they should be getting at least 73. All right, number 6. This is kind of a quick one, but I wanted to bring it up because some people aren't aware of this, but Minnesota Wild playoff clinching possibility. So as of right now, the Wild are currently between the second and third period in their game against the Vancouver Canucks. And in the Western Conference, the Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars have clinched spots. Tonight, all we need to do is to get at least 1 point against the Vancouver Canucks. So we need to either win in overtime, win in regulation, or lose in overtime. Anything but a regulation loss, and we would secure a playoff berth. It gets weird though. If we somehow find a way to lose in regulation, we could still clinch tonight if the Maple Leafs beat the Sharks in regulation, or any result in the LA Kings Nashville Predators game other than a Kings regulation win. The fourth and final way is if the Chicago Blackhawks defeat the Oilers in regulation, and the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the San Jose Sharks in any fashion, and the Calgary Flames beat the Golden Knights in regulation. So bottom line, there's a couple different ways we can do it, but bottom line, all we have to do is just manage a point from this game tonight against the Canucks, which it's a pretty close game, but this is a game that they should win. If they win this game, regardless of when it happens, they will clinch a playoff berth, which kind of leads into seven part. It's Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Timberwolves playoff pushes. For the Wild, we're playing right now our 75th game, so after tonight they'll have 9 games to go. And the Timberwolves just lost a close one to the Detroit Pistons despite no Anthony Edwards, but now they are at 76 games, so they have 6 games left. So they're really kind of getting down to crunch time with this loss against Detroit. For the Wolves, this now puts them still in 6th, but now a game behind the Rockets for 5th. What's that? 2.5 behind Denver for 4th, and 4 behind LA for the 3 spot. But if I'm being completely honest, people all the time talk about situational, and setting yourself up in a favorable position. Now, I think if you are the Timberwolves, you obviously want to win as many games as possible. The best they can do at this point with 6 games left is 52 and 30. But if you're the Wolves, you probably want that. Getting that 3rd spot is going to be tough because you probably more or less have to win out and have the Lakers, lose. Practically lose out as well. But you talk about situational and being smart with this. If you're the Wolves, I don't hate us being a 6th seed and playing the Lakers as a 3rd seed. That's a team we can beat. We have beaten. And then that way, should we win, I'm not saying that that's a foregone conclusion. We win. I think we would win that series if that's what it ends up being. But that would be a favorable matchup because then if we can win that series against the Lakers, then we would play against a very young and a very playoff inexperienced but very talented Spurs team, which would be a better matchup in the conference semis versus having to play the Oklahoma City Thunders in the semis. I think if you're the Timberwolves and you're wanting to make another deep playoff run, you want to try hanging on to that 6th spot because getting that 3rd spot is going to be a little bit tricky. And if you get that 4th or 5th spot, yeah, it'd be cool to host a series. But if you get that 4th or 5th spot and Oklahoma City is clicking on all cylinders and they're getting all the calls like they usually do, you're going to have to play them in the conference semis, which is going to be a tough series if you're trying to get back to the Western Conference Finals for the 3rd year in a row. And then similar, like I mentioned, with the Wild too, it'll be tough. They're now up 4-2 in the 3rd period, but the Wild have not looked particularly good for the most part of March. You have to go back to March 3rd and 6th for the last time they've won back-to-back games. So again, with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games left, you got Vancouver, Ottawa, Detroit, Seattle, Dallas, Nashville, St. Louis, Anaheim. You obviously want to go into the playoffs hot, and you want to be 100% healthy, but you also want to be playing good hockey and getting some of these wins underneath your belt. If you're the Wild, you want to try keeping pace with the Dallas Stars and try to get out ahead of them so that you can have home ice advantage in the playoffs. The thing I love about hockey though is it doesn't really matter who has home ice advantage come playoff time, because 9 times out of 10, regardless of if the better team is the away team or the home team, 9 times out of 10, the better team wins. So if the Wild is truly the better team in that series, regardless of seeds, they should find a way to win out that one. But I posed a question to you guys a couple nights ago, and somebody said something kind of profound, that if, and it's not saying that it will happen, but should the Minnesota Wild find a way to beat the Dallas Stars in the first round, I think we beat the Colorado Avalanche for a couple of reasons. If I'm being completely honest, I'm more worried about the Minnesota Wild getting out of the first round and beating the Stars than I am worried about us playing the Colorado Avalanche. We played them 4 times, and we won one in a shootout. We lost one 5-1, but then we beat them 5-2, and then we lost to them in a shootout. So we've technically gotten at least 1 point from them every single game. So I think, the Wild, I think, should we get out of the Dallas series, I like our chances of going to the Stanley Cup Finals, because I think the Dallas Stars, based off of just getting off that first round, pose a bigger threat to us than the Colorado Avalanche do. And if we beat those teams, I mean, just looking at the standings, if we can beat those 2 teams back-to-back in 7-game series, I'm not worried about an Anaheim Duck team, a Edmonton Oiler team, a Vegas Golden Knight team, or as of right now, who would be the 2 wildcard teams, the Mammoth or the Kings beating us. And at this point, should we get out of our quadrant, we would host a series against any of the Pacific teams or the 2 wildcard teams. And should that happen, and we beat one of those teams, there's just not a team in the Eastern Conference that I'm afraid of. We've beaten the Lightning, we've beaten the Sabres, we've beaten the Canadiens. We've played with all these teams. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But both the Wild and the Timberwolves, in my opinion, have to keep some of this positional playing going down the stretch. You don't have to, it's not, you lose a game here because it benefits. You always try to win. You just, if you see you have to keep up pace, and you have some ground you have to get up on. So things to think about in the last, better part of the week and a half leading up to 2 weeks until the playoffs start. So that is what I have for there. The 8th thing I have is very much sounding like the Minnesota Timberwolves, with the announcement of the NBA expanding. It's going to expand. It has yet to be official where and everything. However, it seems like the consensus is Seattle and Vegas, and should that happen, everything's been circulating about who's going to get moved to the West or the East. And it's really interesting because it looks like Memphis, New Orleans, and Minnesota are the 3 teams that are kind of like, it's going to be a combination of those 2 teams. And it's interesting because a lot of people are like, well, why the Timberwolves? Memphis is farther east, and if you look at a map, so is New Orleans. And I kind of figured this, but it seems like the consensus is from a lot of these analysts and everybody like that. Part of it is, even though Memphis is farther east and New Orleans is a little bit, Minnesota is frequently cited by executives to move to rejoin the Midwestern, geographically closer teams. So for the Wolves, it would really eliminate their travel, where right now they're currently isolated in the Western Conference Northwest Division, which features them, Denver, Oklahoma City, which I'm not saying get away from playing tough teams, but you're playing Denver. From Minnesota, you're traveling out to Denver, to Oklahoma City, Portland, and then I think it's just those 4 teams, right? I think they're 4-team divisions. No, 5-team divisions. So you got Minnesota up here. You're flying to Denver, Oklahoma City, Portland, and Utah. So you're having to go all this fly over here. And I think it would be really awesome, because I think moving the Timberwolves into the Eastern Conference, you're going to get some more fun rivalries, because more than likely what would happen is you would get a division with the Timberwolves, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Chicago Bulls, the Indiana Pacers, maybe a Cleveland Cavaliers or something like that. So it would be really, I think it would be beneficial, and I think a lot of people are saying it would really help the Timberwolves as well, trying to be competitive as well, instead of being in a stacked Western Conference. Really just essentially having to go up against less teams. But it is worth noting that this move, the earliest it would happen would be the 28-29 seasons. That is what I have on that front. And then already ninth thing I have for you guys tonight. I didn't see a ton of it all over ESPN, but I've seen it coming up, kind of looking up and doing some research, and it looks like there is a lot more talk about the NFL eventually by 2030 moving to an 18-week schedule that would feature 2 byes and would have more competitive, meaningful late season games. And I thought we would go over some pros and cons. And again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think some of the pros are pretty simple. Revenue generation. Additional games mean more ticket sales, concessions, higher TV rights fees, benefiting both owners and players. There's just going to be a lot more money being made. Better scheduling. One of the things I put down. A proposal will likely be to be non-negotiable for players. A second bye week would allow for that 18th game schedule over 21 weeks, providing more recovery time, and that would be another way for international games, ensuring that, hey, if you're going to have an international game, as soon as you come back, you're on a bye week so that you don't have to worry about playing a team on not enough rest. Increased parity in meaningful games. An 18-game schedule with 9 home, 9 away game splits make for a more structured season and reduces the impact of a single loss on playoff spots. And then the last one I wrote down was reduced preseason. I think, simply put, I think it's going to likely result in cutting the preseason from 2 games to 3, which is going to be a net positive ultimately. You have 1 home, you have 1 away game. Because, again, if you're being completely honest, the guys you're drafting in the first round of the playoff, like in the first round of the draft, and going forward, you have 53 guys to make on the roster. And if you're being completely honest with yourself, coming into OTAs, preseason, all that kind of stuff, you probably already have at least 45 guys that you're like, unless they get injured, these are the 5 guys we have. So again, you're giving less preseason games for these guys to get injured in. And do you really need 3-4 weeks to evaluate all these people for 10 spots? Again, these games just aren't going to generate as much money because they're a lot cheaper to go to. They're not meaningful games. And I just think it makes most sense for everybody. Now, some of the cons that the NFLPA is going to bring up is, player health, and injury risk. Obviously, with another week, increased physical wear and tear on athletes, leading to higher risk of severe injuries, such like that. Reduced quality of play, fatigue from a longer season can lead to less effective play and more lopsided games late in the season. Increased roster fatigue and injuries already in the NFL. A lot of people feel like there are so many starters by week 4 or 5 that are missing time, and an extra game could increase the number of playing major roles. But the biggest con would be player compensation demands. More than likely, you would have players demanding significantly more compensation and increased minimum salaries to agree to an additional game and risk. But primarily, I think to make this transition, the NFL might consider expanding the game day rosters, potentially saying, increasing practice squad sizes, modifying injury reserve rules to allow players to return faster. But in my opinion, being like a fan that, hey, I get the business side of it and I get the player side of it, in my opinion, the pros outweigh the cons. You're making more, like the NFL is going to be making a lot more money to the point where if the players are like, hey, we want more of this money, you're more inclined to be like, yeah, that's totally fine. By doing this, we're going to be making a lot more money too. Yeah, I think, I guess it's already 2026. I would be shocked if by 2030 we don't have 18 game week schedules, which would also put the Super Bowl the Sunday before President's Day, which would make a lot of people happy because a lot of people have that day off from work. Like I said, making a lot of people happy with doing this. All right, and then last but certainly not least, we have our underdog parlay of the day for you guys. And this week we're coming at you guys with an MLB parlay. Super excited about it. I wanted to do another NBA one, but again, now that we've been recording a little bit earlier, we can't get as well and good of lines for Friday's games with games going on tonight. So without further ado, I got 3 player props for you guys, and one just game $5 to win $44.90. The first one, I like Aaron Judge over 1.5 total bases. You know, love or hate the Yankees, Aaron Judge is one of the most consistent power hitters in baseball with elite plate discipline. They're playing the Marlins, and their pitching is generally weaker early in the season, and Yankee Stadium favors right-handed power. I think he's going to clear 1.5 total bases in a high percentage of home games against sub-elite pitching. So take the over 1.5 bases for Aaron Judge. Second up, we got Shohei Ohtani over 2.5 total bases. In his game against the Nationals tomorrow, I think his elite contact and power, very similar combo, gives him a very high floor for total bases. Nationals' home opener may feature a pitcher-friendly park, but Ohtani mashes most matchups. An early season form for the Dodgers star tends to be strong for them, so take the over 2.5 total bases for him. Third line, I like Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox over half of a hit. Main reason, he is a high contact lefty with an excellent Fenway numbers. The Padres starters can be hittable, and Devers has a proven track record of being a consistent base hitter at home. And this is a floor play, avoiding strikeout, heavy boom, bust option. So yeah. And then the last one is just for the Yankees to win outright. Again, the Yankees are just a good they're a great team. They especially play well early on in the season. And the Marlins, despite them starting off kind of hot, are just a not very well team. They're not very well organized and ran. So I like the Yankees to win tomorrow. Once again, quick recap summary. We got Aaron Judge over 1.5 total bases. Shohei Ohtani over 2.5 total bases. Rafael Devers over half of a hit. And the Yankees just to beat the Marlins tomorrow. $5 into $44.50. As always, please make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to get notified of the new episode as soon as it comes out. Make sure you go follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X, and Facebook, where we're posting a bunch of really fun and cool content all the time. And lastly, make sure you go and subscribe to any audio place you may listen to your audio podcast so you get notified of the new episode when it comes out. And please do not hesitate to reach out with questions or topics. I know it's been a while since we've got much, but we love answering questions for you guys. I love talking about what you guys want to hear. So please reach out. Let me know if you want to be anonymous as well. We will always shout you out. So with that, I'll leave you with until next time, Minnie.